tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Happy Survivor Wednesday!
Yes!
Yes!
Oh my God, we're back, baby!
We are back for Survivor Season 40, Winners at War. Hey everyone, I'm your host Veronica Valencia. To my left, we have...
Oh my God, you already know what it is. Mike Thieling, I'm so excited. V squared.
So pumped.
This is the season that everybody has been dreaming of.
Oh yeah.
It is coming true.
It's the season I've been dreaming of. It's been the season fans have been asking for. We are stoked. And guys, it's even a nicer special episode because we have a special guest commentator, Ryan, over there.
That was not no. That was not enough of a build-up for Ryan.
I'm so sorry.
Guys, Jonathan, if I could have the camera on myself. Guys, this season 40, Winners at War, one of the main topics of strife and consternation is the fact that Rob and Amber, a married couple, are on at the same time. And to celebrate that, we brought in Veronica's boyfriend, Ryan, to co-commentate with us.
Hey there, happy to be here.
I'd vote you out in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
That is how you do
Jeff
that.
would love that.
Jeff would love
would
that.
never get over that.
Jeff would never get over that.
V squared is ruthless.
Coming up later in the show, obviously, we're going to be talking all about this episode. We'll be talking about the tribes, how they were divided. We'll be talking about that first tribal, our first boot, Natalie, and her time at Edge of Extinction. We'll get into the fire tokens. We'll be talking about our second immunity challenge, as well as Amber getting voted off. All of the relationships, all of the Venn diagrams of how everyone's connected. Honestly, let's just get into it. Mike, your overall thoughts, please.
I thought it was amazing. This, right off the bat, you know, season 39, we talked about it obviously extensively, a little bit of a letdown, kind of a womp kind of season. This is just delivering on all cylinders for me right off the bat. It's exactly what I expected. It's what I hoped for, and it's coming true.
Awesome. Ryan, what do you think of the episode?
Yeah, I think
it was awesome.
Already they started the season off strong. I think this is primed to be one of the best episodes that the show's ever had, frankly. I think that, you know, we've all been waiting for this for a long time, for sure.
Oh, no, for sure. I agree with you both. This episode was packed. It was literally what I have been wanting for the last couple of seasons. It's something we have been wanting to happen for such a long time now.
Sick.
Honestly, some of my favorite winners, like everyone, I love this entire cast.
Yule.
It is
Yule.
It is so hard to see any of them go, and the thing that I am most happy about in this first episode is it is not predictable. We all thought Rob and Sandra would be like one of the first people voted out, and it is not predictable, and I love that.
Who knew that a poker alliance was a thing?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Well, I love that this first episode, and we'll get into it as we go along, is that I feel the criteria, and I've been asking this, what is the criteria for winners to be eliminated? Everyone is one, everyone's a great player, and I love the fact that it seems like relationships and connections is what comes down to it when it comes to someone getting voted out, because they're too afraid of who's going to work with who.
And just like Jeff said, I think he said in the second tribal how because the game's been around so long, now we have relationships completely outside of the game. So like this poker stuff, or, you know, hey, you went to New York and you guys became kind of buddies and pen pals or whatever. So there's these weird connections outside of just having played with each other, which is really adds a weird dynamic. And the fact in the past, when winners have come back, they've been easy targets because you've won already, right? Because you've got $1 million already. You know, unless you're going to count Sandra for that, you've won twice now, right? Everybody has. So that, just like you said, it's not a criteria anymore. It levels the playing field.
For sure.
Yes,
Mike, I hear what you're saying. I agree. Let's get into these tribes real quick. We have Dakal in red, which is Tony, Sarah, Sandra, Yule, Wendell, Sophie, Nick, Amber, Tyson, and Kim. We also have Sele, which is the blue team. On that, we have Adam, Denise, Natalie, Michelle, Danny, Ben, Rob, Parvati, Ethan, and Jeremy. And did you notice that these were not randomly selected?
I did, because I wanted to ensure that Rob and Amber were not in the same tribe, at the very least. And I would love to, at some point, you know, you're very much more up on the social media and stuff with the show than I am. I would love to hear from producers what some of the rationalization was for how they picked the initial tribes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, because, well, Ryan, actually, you had an interesting comment of, like, they seemed very even. And that's kind of like what you have to do when you're assigning these tribes. You have to think about how it could be even as possible.
Right, yeah. I mean, you don't want to like stack all of the big challenge threats on one side, although I think one tribe, was it the Red Tribe?
The Red Tribe, Dakal.
Dakal. I think they had a little bit stronger challenge performers, but overall, like, you don't want to put one side way above the other. So, especially on a season like this where they need to make sure that it's perfect.
Yeah.
Yep. Every little thing needs to be, like you said, perfect.
Yeah.
Now let's get into the first challenge. So we have a classic challenge here. We have I called it water hoops because essentially they're trying to get that one ring and get to their post. And I mean, there was some pretty good standout. Obviously, they're all good at challenges, but in the end, Dakal wins immunity.
Yeah.
Now, with Dakal winning immunity, what was your initial reaction of the other team, and what was your mind thinking of? Okay, who's gonna go home?
Right off the bat, I'm always thinking the entire time that it's going to be Rob or Amber. I'm always thinking Rob or Amber. So for this, obviously, I thought Amber, right? Or am I completely mixing up?
You thought Rob.
Yeah.
I immediately thought Rob. Sorry, yeah. I have the fans know I do extensive Excel sheets on this. I have the two colors of the tribe flip-flopped, so now it's messing with my eyesight. I immediately thought Rob, and I wanted to see how they were going to scramble because this initial vote is going to kind of determine how the strategy is of them voting moving forward. So are we going by previously played together? Are we going by these outside alliances and things like that? What exactly is going to be the criteria that you brought up initially? So I was interested to see, this is real rationale. Normally, when you get a group of random people playing Survivor, you have very little to go off of, right? Interestingly, they only had one day. Normally, the first tribal is at the end of 3 days, right? Mm-hmm. You all meet each other, you build the camp, you do the immunity challenge, and then you vote off. It was immediate immunity challenge, and the next day you're going to vote off. So they're taking that into consideration that all these people really knew each other before, at least reputation-wise, if not personally. So I was just excited to see the rationales and the strategy that was going on.
I love the fact, Mike, that you bring up reputations, because one of my favorite things about this episode is, okay, so they're all fan favorites. We all love them. And a lot of them are going to have to play different games than how they originally played. And I loved how we got some perspective into what have they been doing now.
Right.
We got to see, Parvati talking about how she has her young child and starting a family. We got to see Tyson talk about his kids. And it's all of these survivors now talking about how they matured and how they have families, whereas, Parvati can't play the flirt card like she did in her original seasons.
Right.
And, just stuff like that. People cannot play the same games because of how they have matured, of how they are in their life now. And I loved getting that perspective.
Yeah, and I love seeing people make rookie, stupid mistakes, even though they're hardcore veterans. Denise, Adam, that was ridiculous.
It was such an innocent mistake,
but a stupid one. You don't get innocent mistakes in season 40. You don't get innocent mistakes when everybody there is a winner. They're going to chop you down immediately. They're so lucky that they didn't go home the first vote.
They are very lucky, but again, there's criteria, as Boston Rob, not to jump too far, as Boston Rob said, there's reason to get rid of every single person.
Yeah. Let's talk about that statement at that tribal. Because that's a loaded statement.
Before we talk about the tribal, let's talk a little bit more about the gameplay that led up to that tribal.
Sure.
Because, obviously right off the bat, we thought Rob was going to go home. Mike, you thought Rob was going to go home?
I did not. I know I said that before. I thought that that's a very valid move, but as soon as they started scrambling around, the thing with Rob is he's very cunning and smart. Mm-hmm. So I thought he might be able to talk his way. The thing with Rob and Amber to me are the big question marks, at least going in. We know obviously spoils that Amber goes home second, right?
Yeah.
So the way I looked at it is, right off the bat, either you are going to vote Rob and Amber off immediately, or you're going to immediately try to align with them because you're guaranteed a second person when the merge happens. So depending on how far out people are thinking, that could be the way they determine to align. The way the conversation started happening immediately when they knew they had to vote somebody out, I was like, Rob's fine. Rob's fine. Yeah, and same for Parvati. I said, oh, wow. I thought the same thing they did. They're the biggest threats, but they're fine. It's amazing.
Yeah, they had this weird dynamic where the second they get together, I'm like, oh, I'm not worried about either of them because
Yeah.
they're working together. And like, they need to work with each other because they are the two biggest threats. And then they have that sit down talk of like, are we okay?
Right.
Like, I guess we're
Are we
fine.
getting punked?
Right, yeah. Are we
Yeah.
fine? And it turns out, no, they were just that good the whole time.
And Rob is amazing. Rob made Ben and I love Ben. I might have him on my team. I don't know. If not, I wanted him. I love Ben. And just the way Rob so innocently and eloquently talked him into spilling the beans on who brought it. That was amazing. That was almost a textbook move. And Ben was like, I'm getting conned to my face and I'm letting it happen. It was unbelievable. Just the level of gameplay is so high. It's just another reason why I'm so excited for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Like I had mentioned in the beginning, I like how this first episode wasn't predictable because we were all thinking Rob, Sandra, Amber going to be the first ones out. Amber, yes, but we more so thought Rob and Sandra.
Yep.
I loved how Rob he is showing us why he is so good at this game. He has a way of talking to people that makes them want to work with him. Also, we see that he's also really good at challenges. I love the fact that he's working with Parvati because in my mindset, they are two of the strongest social players and that something about them makes people want to work with them. But the thing that I liked so much about this kind of pre-tribal gameplay was that we had a couple of names being thrown out and none of them were Parvati or Rob. We had Jeremy and Natalie because people were afraid of that very close-knit relationship from when they played originally on San Juan del Sur. And then we had Denise and Adam names being thrown out just because they made a very dumb mistake.
Yes.
However, I want to talk about that dumb mistake for a minute. Something about this episode made me curious if we might get some type of slower gameplay, even though it's a season full of winners, because no one wants to be the one to take initiative. They had such a hard time being able to choose a name. No one wanted to be the person that stepped up and said, I want this person out. No one was the person that said, I'm going to go out there and try and find an idol. I know I need to find it because it's Winners at War. No one wants to be the person to make that initiative to make them a target. But does that equal kind of more under the radar, almost kind of less flashy gameplay?
I don't think so. I don't think so at all. And Ethan really said it best. Said this is moving at light speed. I don't know what's happening. I don't know where I am. It's kind of like a whirlwind. I think for the specific areas that you just addressed, yes, but only because it's the first episode. I think that's going to completely change next episode because both tribes have now been to tribal council after last night. Alliances are starting to be formed, lines are starting to be drawn, and they can much more easily maneuver who they want to put up and vote out, I think. The first one is very cautious because no one wants to make that initial move. But as far as talking, chatter, alliances, that stuff's going at light speed. Finding an idol, yeah, you don't want to have the optics that Adam had right off the bat. That was dumb. Right? It was I agree. I think it was an honest mistake. I think it was just silly. But you don't go out just the two of you. No. So that's silly. There was no reason to, right? So I think all that's going to turn around next episode. It's going fast.
It's going very fast, as it would on a season called Winners at War. All right, so let's skip. We know the outcome of this tribal. Natalie is the one that ends up going home.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I thought it was really, really smart. That's a good move. You got to break up twosomes, right? You have to. They're a power couple right off the bat, and the problem for them is people knew it already. And they weren't doing anything to hide it. So if you're really... Now the second Winners at War, season 80, everybody's going to know. The two of them should have been going to other people Jeremy really screwed me over on a business deal. I don't know, something to show you guys aren't friends anymore. Not hanging out on the beach just like they were back on their season. It's just completely drawing attention right away. So I thought it was a really smart move. The more interesting thing to me was first, not surprising that she gave her fire token to Jeremy.
Not at all.
Cool. If you don't mind skipping ahead, what was most interesting to me was her selling her little immunity idol to Sandra. I didn't get that move.
Let's talk about Edge of Extinction and the fire tokens as a whole, because I think this is probably this is, to me, is what made this season, well, I shouldn't say made this season. I'm excited about fire tokens. I know when there's a new gimmick introduced to the show, a lot of the times people can be very weary of it because sometimes they work very well, sometimes they work very poorly.
We know microtransactions have done great things for video games, so Survivor's sure to follow. I also would like to point out very, very specifically, obviously Jeff watches our show religiously because Edge of Extinction truly is Edge of Extinction Island on this season.
Woo! Trademark!
Thank you.
Island, yeah.
TM.
Trademark!
Thank you.
Yeah.
So let's talk.
Fire tokens look cool. Tokens look cool. I'm excited to see how they. I'm trying to talk fast because we're running out of time. And there's a ton to talk about. Fire tokens look cool. It's going to be interesting to see how they earn more of them. I'm going to have a lot of fun making fun of anybody who buys food or something dumb with them and doesn't use them for advantages or immunity idols.
Awesome. Real quick, Ryan, your hot takes about Edge of Extinction Island.
Oh yeah, I think that last time it was introduced, it left a lot of us like kind of wanting it, like have a bigger impact on the season, and I think fire tokens are going to be the way to make Edge of Extinction matter throughout the season rather than just at the merge and at final 6 it was.
Yeah,
when somebody comes in and wins the whole thing.
Well, there's obvious feedback about Edge of Extinction Island the first time around. It was dull. There was nothing really to do. The stuff that they did, they could kind of affect the game, but it didn't really help them. Just Sheldon asks, and thank you guys, everybody, for in the chat. We love seeing you. We miss you guys. So glad to see everybody back. Just Sheldon asks, how didn't I get that move? Sandra is someone she knows will bite.
Exactly.
Yeah, will bite, but if it's just to earn a fire token, that to me, maybe it is, and maybe the way they're seeing it, it is enough of an advantage. To me, you want to get that immunity to somebody who for sure is going to be an ally to you. Maybe she thought so, but to me, Sandra's the biggest target. I don't know about giving her immunity.
But that just means she's a very willing customer. She needs to buy your product, so it's easy. It's an easy sell, and she just wants fire tokens in this early in the game.
If that's it, if it's just wanting fire tokens, to me, I saw it as you're giving the most powerful player an advantage. You better hope she realizes it's you or believes it's you, which she kind of seemed to did, and is willing to align with you if you can get off.
Definitely.
Here's my theory. Natalie does not like Boston Rob because it was Boston Rob and Parvati that orchestrated her vote out.
Sure.
Now, in her mind, she's seeing the tribe that won. Who's on that tribe? Amber. And and if you're thinking about it the way we as fans are thinking about it, Amber and Sandra are the biggest targets on that tribe right now. Do you want to maybe save Sandra so that way you can eliminate Boston Rob's relationship just like he eliminated yours?
Fair enough.
That was my theory of why she would give it to Sandra.
That makes sense.
However, having Amber on Edge of Extinction Island, I think, is very dangerous. Having anyone with a working relationship on that island is dangerous because now Rob can have an advantage without going off and looking for one, and people could be like, "Where'd you get that advantage?"
Oh, sure.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. And Amber's trading right back to Rob whatever she gets, and that's the way. But kind of to that point, why doesn't the immunity idol go to Jeremy? That would even be an even trade. Here's my fire token. Give me it back.
Jeremy's team didn't lose.
Oh, it had to be just the losers. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. Sure. I guess then your explanation makes perfect sense.
I bet she would have given it to Jeremy had they lost,
They would have for sure. She wanted her team to lose. That's what she said to Amber when she even came. She's like, I wish my team lost, so that she probably could give it to Jeremy.
Chels, of course. Welcome back. Chels, Eric, Mirror Domains, Bria Carter, Nathan. So good to see you guys. Chels is looking forward to hearing me yell at people. That's for sure going to happen. No problem.
Definitely.
I'll yell at
Not
you.
as many Mike's tips, probably, because these people are usually on point, but Mike's tips is to not go to the water well by yourselves.
Yep.
Don't look for it, and don't get lost.
Don't get lost with the map.
Don't be too lost.
Here we go.
Okay, so let's go on to, I guess it's literally day 3 maybe at this point. It's day 3. It's day 3 at this point, which is a very accelerated game already. We are going into basically our post-tribal. We get a little bit more backstory. So let's talk about Sandra real quick being really quote-unquote sad that Rob didn't tell her she's going to be on
That was strange.
Winners at War.
Yeah, that was strange. She took it so personal. The whole thing I was thinking with that was, what would you do differently? How would it affect anything of the outcome? Was she straight up being like, I can't wait to play next season? And I don't know. It came off really odd to me.
And Ryan, you had an interesting theory about this.
I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't, put it past Sandra to be petty, but I also might think it might be somewhat strategy because if she lets people think she's playing an emotional game, they might see her as less of a strategic threat.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows that she's the giant target, and if people just think, oh, she's just somebody who was hurt, and she'll just play off that emotion, like they might miss her deeper strategy.
Absolutely, yeah. That she and Rob. It's a perfect observation. Right. She and Rob, to me, last night both demonstrated. Don't listen to what they're saying. No. You can't trust their emotional. Rob's like, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I just want to trust you. Yo, stop it. Yeah. The dude is a killer. He's complete strategy. Sandra's complete strategy. She is going to play you. You cannot get caught up in it. So, really, really good point.
Yeah. They both proved this episode why they built statues of their heads.
Yeah. That are probably still there.
That is not lost on
island.
Everybody else on the tribes, too. There's a statue of your head.
Right.
Yeah, you have to go.
Speaking of everybody else on the tribes, let's talk about Ben real quick. Because after this challenge, or after this elimination, it seemed that it really became divided between old school versus new school.
I didn't think that divide was going to happen. I was actually surprised. Of course, it makes perfect sense, and it's a really logical way to get people together. I loved just going on with groupings. I loved what Yule was talking about. I thought I was going to be... All right, enough, you. Sorry, Ryan. You're getting dumped soon.
Oh, no, me too. Don't worry.
As soon as Yule comes back. Yule was saying, I thought I was going to be in big trouble because I'm on the outs, but the majority of people are on the outs because we have people from a long time ago. So actually, the on the outs people can get together and actually bond and group together. That makes a ton of sense. Old school versus new school makes a ton of sense. There's a lot of ways to divide all these people up. A lot of the people who are old school are kind of also on the outs, and they haven't played in 14, 15 years. Even someone like Amber, who has played twice, right? Mm-hmm. The second time was 14 years ago, or 16 years ago, whatever, a long time. So these people who are old school, they haven't played in a while.
20 years ago.
No, that was the first time.
That was the first time?
Yeah, that was the first time. So they haven't played with the new school people either, even when they've come back. So it makes a lot of sense to group up.
I love the way that this season is going to take part with just the relationships and the connections. Yeah,
of course.
We have the Game Changers Alliance of Sandra, Tony, and Sarah, but are they going to work together? They were all voting each other out in their season, or they were all against each other. Are they going to work together here? And I love how we talk about this on the show a lot, about how any one little thing can get you eliminated.
Sure.
Yep. And they are taking it outside of the game to this poker alliance.
That's silly. Yeah,
I mean,
but it's a thing.
Love it.
But
it's a thing.
You like it?
It's what made Yule's performance in this episode so good is that he was able to make this silly little poker game the big talk of the town.
Yeah,
you know?
I was actually impressed by that because I was surprised that anybody was falling for this. Dude, they got paid money to go do a poker appearance as minor kind of reality stars. That's my friend was on the first season of I Love New York. You're not even old enough to probably remember that show, right?
I know the name.
It's on VH1. This is an old reality show. He still does reality show star appearances till this day. That was probably over 20 years ago. I don't even remember. Long time. So that's literally what they did for this poker thing. I doubt they're barely even buddies. They're bantering around the poker table. And now it's coming back to bite them. I'm amazed, people. It just goes to show you they're looking for anything to jump on and any kind of excuse to point some fingers.
I know, and I love that. I love that they're taking all these connections into account. And you know what? It put some people on the chopping block on that tribe that I didn't think they were going to be gunning for early on. Again, we talked about how Amber or Sandra would have been the one going home, but there were more names thrown out. Tyson's name was thrown out first. So was Kim. So was obviously Sandra. And so was Nick. I want to get your opinion real quick on why Nick and why Kim. Was it Kim?
Yeah.
Why Kim? Why their names were thrown out? Or why, scratch that, why Nick's name was thrown out and why they made it seem like Kim was the one going home.
I think Nick's name was thrown out primarily because he's the most recent winner.
It's true.
Straight up. And, you know, his mind is the most in the game probably of winning so recently. He's young, he's smart, he's a lawyer, he's crafty. We know he's good at making alliances like Mason-Dixon, and he seems to be fairly true to those alliances. So a true, honest person, if he's not with you, that's a dangerous person. Kim was really strange to me. Kim, I think, just really got on the outs and was just not included. She's not...
And she wasn't used to that because she was in control her entire season.
Right. And I think she was more of a on-the-outs person that got caught rather than being seen as some big, crazy strategic threat or anything like that.
Yeah, I am. So yeah, obviously she was part of this poker alliance. We know
Right.
that's what made her the target. But it was interesting because I went into.
So is Tyson. So
was
why
Tyson.
her?
But why her? Why did they make it seem like she was the one that was
Big
going
one.
home? Because they really were not allowing her into any conversation.
Right.
And I don't know, that could obviously just be a game play to not let the person who they were actually targeting know that they were targeting them.
Sure.
But I thought it was interesting that they were going for Kim.
Yeah.
But hey, it's winners at war. Many things could happen. So obviously at this tribal, you know.
Oh, and by the way, because we skipped past this and I said I want to talk about it. Rob's little anybody can have a target on her
yes.
back. That was one of the main things that I looked at Rob and I was like, yo, stop. That's so loaded. That's 100%. Don't vote for me. Everybody's in trouble. Like, dude, you are the biggest threat. That was 100% trying to rip the target off of wherever it is on his body and throw it on somebody else. 100%.
But it's a valid point.
Sure.
I would be someone that would be dazzled by Boston Rob should I ever play this game. Because I understood what he meant by that.
I don't think you could actually play. If it was like Winners at War, 19 people in V squared, then you just be like, starstruck.
Oh, yeah, for sure. As many of these
Like,
people
hey
are.
guys, I can swim.
I can swim. Hey! So let's go into, obviously we kind of already jumped ahead. We know that the blue tribe, Sele, wins the second immunity, and it's Dakal that is going to tribal council, and we know...
What a comeback, by the way. You can't
Oh
skip
my
over that.
gosh!
Oh my
Great challenge.
Unbelievable. I literally jumped up at home watching. I was like, let's go. Yeah, it was... And now I'm forgetting. It was Jeremy throwing the rings,
Yeah,
right?
he got
It
like
was
3 for
Jeremy,
3.
yeah.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
like beyond comeback. I mean,
Boston
Rob throwing people
launching
over.
people.
That was amazing. You have Ethan, who is, just be honest. He's an older person now. He's been through a lot. He's an amazing cancer survivor. Just launched him over there like it was nothing. Just unbelievable teamwork to come back. And that's just like, yo, I was almost crying. This right there was never give up, never surrender. We're all winners. We can do this. And they just executed like crazy.
They
I
did.
was so impressed.
It was such a great comeback, and I'm happy that they made that comeback because I don't know what would have happened if they gone to tribal again. Because I mean, let's be real, I'm biased. There are winners there that I obviously like over others, and I would have preferred them to stay in the game. So I'm happy that they got immunity. But can we also just talk
Rihanna
about?
B is right. Pull me.
Pull me! I want that. Someone send me that as a GIF.
Of his
GIF,
screaming
please.
face.
I want it. But also send me the GIF of Sandra coaching them. Come on, guys, let's go. Tony, pay attention.
Oh, yeah, Tony, pay attention.
Right.
Eyes over there. I was like, ooh.
And she still got away with that, too. She sat on the bench, she yelled at them, and she got away with it.
Another reason of just showing why Sandra's a great player. She can sit out. She likes sitting out. She has no issue with that, and people will still keep her in the game.
Mm-hmm.
She's the queen, and she knows it. So, yes, we talked about this challenge. We know that Dakal lost, and they go to tribal, and they ultimately send Amber home.
Great move. Just do it. I mean, injure Rob, get him pissed off. He's probably gonna, I don't know. We don't know how he's gonna react. We saw on that original season when he and Amber met, man, was he having a hissy fit with Lex and stuff. That was, that's been played over and over and over again. We know he's super attached. I am to my wife too, not a big surprise. But how is that going to affect him? Is he going to keep his head in the game? Is he going to stay? Amber can come back. There's opportunities to get off Edge of Extinction Island. Or is that going to really hurt him? Is he going to make some mistakes? Is he going to be rash because of how this affects him? I'm excited to see it.
I honestly think he's out for blood. I think that he is going to want to get redemption. He is gonna get revenge. But I think Amber being out of the game right now is way more dangerous for everybody still in the game than if Amber had been in the game. Because the biggest concern of the other tribe was, let's focus on the marriage. Let's focus on that relationship, as said by Adam. Like, why are we focused on these? We should be focused on that. They're not a threat right now because they're not together. Let's get rid of the relationships in the tribes right now.
Who do you think was a stronger vote off?
What do you
Instead
mean?
of over Amber then?
I'm only thinking Amber is a bad vote off just because of how Edge of Extinction Island is being played and the fire tokens. Had that not really been a thing, it would have been a right vote off.
This might be a really hot take, okay? But I have a feeling these fire tokens are not going to come into play. not in a way that we would like. Maybe once someone gets an advantage, but I feel like with these kind of twists, I'm always let down, right? Like I pay my fire tokens and I get an advantage in a challenge, and it barely affects it, or I lose anyway. You know, look, if they're not on Edge of Extinction Island, they don't have the opportunity to go home. If you think Rob and Amber are a threat, get one of them out right away. Then it's a much better shot of them going home. Or else these two are going to play and they're going to sneak into the final two again, and they're going to re-propose and have a vow renewal. I'm going to perform it, and they're going to make out again on the finale night, winning another $2.5 million, whatever the second place gets to. You get one of them out right away, and then you have at least a shot that they're going home.
At least a shot. See, I'm a little bit more optimistic. I think these fire tokens are going to be a very great addition, and I'm excited to see how they're going to come into gameplay. And that just about wraps up this episode. Any final thoughts, Mike?
I'm super pumped. I mean, I'm so excited. I'm excited because I don't think we can actually know what's going to happen. This is going to be very unpredictable. I think these folks are going to switch alliances on a dime, which is going to be really fun to see. I think we're going to see some really, really great backstabbing going on. I love the backstabbing, and I don't see anything negative about this season. This might sure up to be the best season yet.
I agree with you, and I'm excited to see what comes because we have so many masterful players. And speaking of masterful players, we have a lot of MVPs, but we had to choose a few. All right, so we're gonna move onto our MVP segment. Let's see who voted for what. Oh, Sandra. That was me.
That was obviously you. I know.
That was obviously me because Sandra.
Why?
She's just so good at this game. Here's the thing. Here's the way I'm thinking. If you are a threat and you can still somehow find a way to make not the target you, I am impressed. And I think Sandra, by far, being next to maybe Boston Rob, being the biggest star in this game because she's the only two-time winner, not still finding a way to not even make her name being written down the first tribal.
And have someone give her the immunity idol.
And have someone give her the immunity idol. Go, Sandra. All right. Next up, we have Yule.
That was me.
That was you? Why
I don't want to
Yule?
get in trouble tonight.
Yeah, no, because I watched a lot of the preseason interviews, and Yule's biggest fear going in was not being a part of the Survivor community, not having connections. And what was really amazing this episode was that he came into the season and immediately took the thing that he was worried about and turned it on its head, making relationships a disadvantage rather than an advantage.
I
thought that was awesome.
go.
Can I just point out
that? Yeah.
You are very on point, Ryan, with our chat right now because Bria, Eric,
I'm in the
Nathan,
chat every week,
GB,
y'all.
and Thomas are all saying that Yule is their MVP.
Do we shout you out?
I'm Maria
All the
Menounos.
time. Yeah, you don't know it though.
Well, Maria was about to come on our show again there.
Maria,
Whoa.
who's your MVP?
Yeah.
Sorry about that, guys.
Hey.
Hey.
We asked Jonathan who his MVP is, but he's only going to pick the two people that's on his
That
chart.
he knows. And
That's
Rob.
mine. Obviously, it's Rob.
Yeah.
Similar reason behind yours with Sandra, but when I saw Rob talk Ben into giving him information, I was beyond impressed. The dude is a straight savage. He is going to run this game if they don't watch out. And same thing, he wasn't even on the chopping block. You've got poor Adam going, I just got lost on the way to the water. This guy's married to somebody on the other. Why are we not even looking at him? Dude, come on, he's amazing.
He is
Yeah.
amazing.
Let's go.
Something about him.
They're all great. It's going to be hard to choose one week by week, but we will do it. And like I said, the chat is overwhelmingly Yule is the MVP.
Stop sucking up for Veronica.
They put
and put who you really think down in the comments.
They put an economy in the game. Yule's gonna kill
God.
it.
Yeah.
He's such a nerd. Of course he knows how to work the economy.
What's the supply and demand of the fire tokens?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's get into some rapid fire predictions.
Oh, wow. Oh, man. I wasn't expecting you to say that. I don't know. My predictions is I have none. I honestly just think it's going to be chaos. I'm not secure enough to make any predictions right now because I think everything's still up in the air.
This game is going to change day by day. Absolutely nothing I say is probably going to happen. The only thing I can say is I think Rob is going to want to get revenge for Amber. Ryan, what do you think?
Yeah, same. I think Rob's next goal is to either solidify himself as not a threat because Amber's out, or he's maybe going to make a mistake, which might cost him his game. Who knows?
Who knows on this season? I certainly don't, but thank you so much, everyone, for tuning into our coverage of Survivor. Again, season 40 Winners at War. We wanted it. You wanted it. We're finally getting it. Be sure to join us every Thursday at 7 p.m. as we are covering it. Mike, where can the Survivor fans find you on social media?
All my Survivor friends, thank you so much for coming back. We're so excited for season 40. We love seeing you guys. Chels, Rihanna, Bria Carter, Eric, Olin, Sloss Pop, Kimberly, Bria. Oh my gosh, Royal 16. I love seeing all the names again. My name is Mike Thieling. Remember, if you're watching us on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to AfterBuzz. Give us a big thumbs up. And if you're listening on iTunes, give us a 5-star review. We love you, our extended panel. You can follow me everywhere at Mike Thieling.
Thank you.
Ryan.
Hi, you can find me in the chat most weeks. Or you can find me on Twitter, and I tweet dumb stuff, at Ryan Juba, spelled D-Z-I-U-B-A. It's weird.
No one's going to remember that. Big square.
You can find me, Veronica Valencia, on Twitter and Instagram at It's Me, Veronica_V. Again, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you all next week.
Smoke it!
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.